As of right now, the story of One Piece continues to go deeper and deeper into Act 3 of the Wano Country arc, a section of the narrative that has been continually heating up and gaining momentum with no signs of stopping. While it's true that I can't wait for the climax of the arc to really begin, part of me can't help but wonder, where exactly are the Straw Hats going next? Currently, there are 3 locations we can safely assume the crew has to go to: Laugh-Tale, Elbaf, and Lodestar Island. I feel as if Laugh-Tale and Elbaf are self-explanatory. These 2 islands have been hyped up ever since we entered the Grand Line, and are without a doubt going to be visited. Some of you may not be certain on Lodestar, but I have no doubt in my mind that Luffy and the gang will travel there. It's the last island in the New World, and like Laugh-Tale, the Roger Pirates were the only ones to enter the mysterious island in recent times. If Luffy wants to be the Pirate King, then this has to be a destination on his voyage at some point. But there is one more location I believe the Straw Hat Pirates will journey to before the series concludes, and that is the laboratory of Dr. Vegapunk. So, why do I believe that we will be getting an arc centered around Vegapunk's lab despite no hints that the Straw Hats will even go there? Well, ever since the post-Endy's lobby arc, we've been getting spoon-fed little pieces of information about Vegapunk, originally learning that he researched devil fruits. While we now know that Vegapunk does so much more, we immediately knew that this man would teach us about the mysterious ability granting fruits. Now as to exactly why the story will move in the direction of Vegapunk's lab, I can't really give a definitive answer. I don't even know when this arc could take place. We just don't have that much information yet. It has to be before Laugh-Tale, obviously, but I'm not sure if it would be right after Wano or maybe even after Elbaf. We know that Orochi told CP Aegis Zero that he wants Vegapunk to come to Wano, but how would he expect the Doctor to be able to work with Wano's much less advanced technology? Who knows? Maybe Vegapunk's lab is on an island that can somehow travel, similar to Zoe. He could then travel to the isolated island, but I really can't say. But rest assured, with One Piece potentially getting into the final stretch of the story soon, a Devil Fruit info dump will be much needed. And what better place to learn this information from the lab of the man who's researching Devil Fruits? Hopefully by now I've convinced you that there will be an arc centering around the Doctor's lab, because now it's time to talk about what we can expect from this arc, starting with its structure. Be mindful that these ideas will only be general guesses of mine, because trying to predict what exactly will happen in potential One Piece arcs is very much a shot in the dark. In no way at all do I expect the Vegapunk arc to be anywhere near its New World contemporaries in length. This might be another reason for why this arc might come after Wano, because at this point in the story, it's very much looking like Wano is going to be the longest arc in the series. And I could also see the Elbaf arc being a longer part of the story as well. I think that this section of the manga will be very similar to Zoe in length, and maybe even a few chapters more, considering the sheer amount of information we would learn during this part of the plot. If this arc actually does take place after Wano, then it would make sense to have a shorter, yet dense story following this absolute behemoth of an arc that is Wano Country. Personally, Vegapunk is a character I cannot wait to learn more about, and I'm not just talking about his creations, his influence, or his lab. Well, alright, I'm sure his lab is pretty cool, but no, there is no way Vegapunk is just some cold-hearted, bland, droning scientist. I'm sure his design will be an incredible sight. I could even see him making body modifications to himself, but way more advanced than anything Frankie has made, which is saying a lot. Remember, Vegapunk's technological advancements are supposed to be 500 years in the future when compared to modern One Piece technology. I'm sure we'll also probably get a backstory for Vegapunk, ranging from his accomplishments as a young scientist, such as creating cybernetic animals, his discovery of both the lineage factor and the science behind devil fruits, and much more. I'm not the only one interested in the man, as it is heavily speculated by One Piece fans that Vegapunk is actually a double agent for the Revolutionary Army, and it's not hard to see why. For starters, as someone who works very closely with the world government, why would he program Kuma, the subject of a government project and former revolutionary, with the mission of protecting the Thousand Sunny until the Straw Hats returned? Well, maybe this arc will learn that Vegapunk isn't really allied with the government, but he's simply using them so he can fund, or more easily produce his experiments. In chapter 840, we learn from Yonji about how years ago, Vegapunk was actually arrested by the people he works for now, so it's possible he could be harboring a grudge against the Marines. It also wouldn't be a crazy idea to think that Vegapunk's weapons can easily be disabled by him, or used to help the revolutionaries. One more thing that I would like to see from a Vegapunk backstory is him in his lab working on projects we've seen in One Piece. The pacifistas, artificial devil fruits, or something completely new, like the SSG. Alright, I'm gonna say it right now. Vegapunk's laboratory is gonna be awesome, and I mean the actual lab and not just the arc. I'm almost certain Oda is gonna go all out drawing a very futuristic and technologically advanced lab, or maybe even an entire island. It's gonna look cool. Now, why do I think this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. For the past few arcs, Oda has gone crazy with drawing the environments that his story has been taking place in. First, you have Totoland, which is this archipelago created by Big Mom to fit her twisted idea of what the world should be like. Giant living mountains and buildings made of candy are only some of the insane sights to behold during Whole Cake Island. And then you have Wano, this beautiful ancient Japanese country with traditional Eastern style buildings all over the place, with cherry blossoms constantly falling in the flower capital. But the factories and their pollution have an incredible contrasting effect on what we originally thought of the country in the Curry region. Even Marijoa had such a holy, regal vibe to it, but on a much grander scale than anything before we've seen in the story, especially compared to the other kingdoms in One Piece. My point is, these landscapes are so creative, and you can tell Oda loves drawing these different locales. Oda's creativity really knows no bounds, and Vegapunk's lab will be another great way for him to show off his skills. It's not even a question of if we would learn more about devil fruits during this Vegapunk arc, it's pretty much a given. Oda even mentioned way back in the SBS for Volume 48 that there's a certain scholar who will appear in the upcoming story who will explain what the devil fruits are. Soon. Obviously, Oda may not have exactly realized how much more One Piece he was going to write, because that was written during the Oars fight in the Thriller Bark arc. We still have not met this scholar, who is obviously Vegapunk. Oh well. Anyway, my point is that in this arc, Vegapunk will give one of the craziest exposition dumps in the series, one that we've all been waiting for. The secret of devil fruits and how they work. I'm not sure if he can explain the origin of them, but we can definitely expect to learn the science behind the fruits, and about what the lineage factor is and how he discovered it. We also will learn about how objects like bazookas and swords can eat devil fruits, because Kobe mentioned that Vegapunk was responsible for that technology. We'll probably also find out more about fruit reincarnation, and most importantly, what devil fruit awakenings are and how to awaken devil fruits. And speaking of awakenings, the last we heard of Smoker, Tashigi, and the G5 Marines was nearly 200 chapters ago after the Dressrosa arc. They were a few days away from arriving at Dr. Vegapunk's lab, hoping the scientists could help return the children found in Caesar's lab to their original size. I'm sure that fixing the kids won't be a short process, so it would make sense for the Vice Admiral and his people to stay on Vegapunk's lab for some time. But now that Smoker is at Vegapunk's lab, it would only be natural for him to learn from the devil fruit scientist himself on how to become stronger. I believe 100% Vegapunk will help Smoker awaken his devil fruit. Smoker was the first Logia devil fruit user we met in the story, so it would make total sense for him to be the first awakened Logia user we see as well, or at least the first named awakened Logia user. After seeing just how powerful Luffy had become way back at Punk Hazard, wouldn't Smoker want to power up in order to close the gap between him and the future Pirate King? Luffy even said that he wants to fight Smoker again, but we already know what these two are capable of, and it wouldn't be too out of the park to say Luffy would totally wash the Vice Admiral in the way he is now. Smoker being our introduction to awakened Logias will be a wonderful way to establish a new element to powers in the One Piece world. An element that will undoubtedly be important considering who some endgame opponents could be. Finally, I want to talk about how this arc, like every arc in One Piece, will affect the main characters, the Straw Hats. While I don't think every member of the crew will grow or learn a new skill at Vegapunk's lab, there are a select few who I could see coming out of this arc with a new trick up their sleeve. First, and most obviously, Frankie. Ever since Frankie learned the lab that he was working at during the timeskip was only an older lab belonging to Dr. Vegapunk, it seemed obvious to me that he would one day visit the current, more advanced lab belonging to the Doctor. I think that if Vegapunk is truly an ally of the revolutionaries, then he would want to help the crew, and Frankie is no exception. I could see the scientist helping Frankie create weapons on a similar level to what the newly created SSG is capable of. Or maybe just whatever the SSG is, we still don't really know what it, or maybe even they, are. Another Straw Hat Vegapunk could help is the captain himself, Luffy. We all know that Luffy is going to have to learn at some point how to awaken his Devil Fruit, and Vegapunk teaching him this elusive technique would be more than appropriate. Chopper already kind of artificially awakened his fruit, and I can't really see Brook awakening his either. As much as I would love Robin to awaken her fruit, let's be honest, unless Robin gets a fight soon, that ain't happening. One last thing I'd like to mention are weapons eating Devil Fruits. As the man apparently responsible for developing this technology, I can picture certain weapons used by the Straw Hats gaining new abilities. First, we have Usopp's newest slingshot, the Black Kabuto. Kabuto already has some life to it, as it can literally grow a mouth and eat things. But what if that was taken a step further, and it eats a Devil Fruit, maybe even becoming a real Kabuto beetle, or it can eat literally any other fruit. Another obvious candidate is Nami's Climatect. There's always been an idea floating around within the One Piece community that maybe Monet's Devil Fruit, the Snow Fruit, can be eaten by Nami's weapon to gain more control over the weather. And honestly, I'm all for it. It would be another really cool power-up for Nami, and incredibly fitting considering her skill set. I also thought that maybe the Frankie Shogun can gain Devil Fruit powers, but I'm not really sure how that would work considering the robot has to form from two different parts when it's used. Zoro's swords aren't definitely not going to be tampered with, and I can't see Soul Solid being messed with either. But who knows? I can't wait for this arc whenever it comes, and the endless new advancements that it could bring. Whenever we visit Vegapunk's lab, it'll definitely be a treat to see. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to my channel and give the video a like. I'm only just starting my channel, so I'm not really sure how often I'll make videos like this, but I do have other One Piece videos in mind. I also might make videos for other anime or manga series such as Hunter x Hunter, Berserk, and maybe even Chainsaw Man, and more. In the future, I also do want to get a decent enough camera so I can record live chapter reactions as well, and maybe even do some streaming, or in-person chapter reviews and theories and such. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.